What's this beer doing here? I don't know. Should I drink it? Alright. I'll do it. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an episode of Tank Talks Movies, and this is BeerFest. Okay, the movie starts out with James and a priest in the basement of a church playing quarters. If y'all don't know what quarters is, well, you take a quarter, you bounce it, there's a mug of beer, and if it lands in it, you know, you gotta drink it. Okay, James does not have any luck at this game at this point in time. Excuse me. And, you know, they're playing for money. So they're pretty much taking all of James' money. Alright, he's down to the final thing, and he's going to lose all his money. He taps it in, bounces the quarter, it bounces back, and then he asks, they're pretty much going to take all his money away, and he goes, double or nothing. He's like, the priest is like, really? You play rim rules? And he's like, doesn't everybody? Alright, if he was, you know, and then says he's got to earn it. Okay, the priest grabs a vase, takes the flowers out, pours out the water, and pours in a piss warm beer. And then he's like, he does the quarter thing, and it bounces into the vase. And, you know, the priest is all upset, and he's saying, you're trying to fuck with me in my place of business, blah, blah, blah. Then he's like, he says something, and all of a sudden, he looks like they're about to cornhole him. And then Tom, Jim's brother, comes in and says, guys, there's something kind of important going on up here. It's the funeral for their Tom and James's grandfather. And it's really, really funny. It's just it's like, because it's a video, like, will type thing going on, and they're pretty much just, their grandfather is drinking pitcher of, like a big ass mug, 3 big ass mugs of beer, and saying things like, they get the kids get the restaurant, and Popo, that is a puppet, and then he, like, pulls the plug on himself. And then they're at the restaurant, and their grandmother tells them to take their grandfather to Munich, Germany, to have his ashes spread out. And then, well, they go to Oktoberfest, and they meet this guy, Mr. Schmiedelschmaddel, or Schmiedelvixen. I don't know, I can't pronounce his name or shit, I'm sorry, guys. And they, you know, they're drinking, and shenanigans happen. The tent starts falling over, boobs are shown, hot cheese soup is thrown on somebody, and they quickly bolt out of there to get out of the situation. Mr. Schmiedelvixen, or I don't know, the Vixen guy takes them to this facility where there's just a big V on a door, big red V. They go into it. It's a weird things, like, you know, we see a blind guy wearing a turban and looks like Osama bin Laden, but they have a young child on a, yeah. All of a sudden there's this weird ass dude that's wearing a strap on, wearing a bunch of makeup, and he tries to make out with Todd, and all that shit. They finally get into this room, and there's just a big old party, like, festival thing going on down there, and that is BeerFest. They see, like, all these different type of drinking things, and, you know, I'd like to try some of these things, but I know I'd be puking in very quickly. But Das Boot happens, and all this other stuff. The Germans beat the Irish, and all of a sudden Mr. Schmiddelsmackle introduces James and Todd to apparently they're cousins, the German team, von Wolfhausen, you know, and then all of a sudden shit gets awry. Mr. Schmiedel-Schmackle gets fucking shot. And then there's like a weird drinking contest where they have big ass pitchers of beer where they're trying to drink out of it, and the big German team just like 4 big gulps and it's gone. And then, you know, audience are showing cabbage at them and they're down, and then there's an older man that is the German team's grandfather, that is apparently the stepfather, stepbrother of James and Todd's grandfather. Okay, you know, they get embarrassed, they get their grandfather dumped on them. That's extremely disrespectful. And then they go back to the States, and they say they're going to want to start up a team. They get Landfill. They meet him at a, it's just a hot dog eating contest, pretty much. He just devours a bunch of hot dogs. He went to jail, apparently became Muslim, blah blah, all that crap. Okay, he's really excited that he gets to join this team. Next, we meet Finkenstein, or Fink. Yeah. He's the smart, nerdy guy who can drink, and he knows all about drinking beer and different ways of getting drunk and how fast you can get drunk. He works in a facility that you have to see in the film. Then we meet Barry. Apparently he's the best at drinking everything. Damn, that's half gone. And so they find him. He's pretty much a male prostitute, and he pretty much he's terrible at the time they meet him again, but he gets drunk, and then he comes to the bar, and he shows it that he's still got everything. So, then now we cut to a scene where they're practicing in some type of, like, brewery barn thing where they have a keg where they're drinking out of the keg, seeing how much they can get rid of, and they don't put a dent in it. Then they talk to their great-grandmother and asking how Germans can drink so fast. And they say his mother says their great-grandmother says they drink ram's piss. Because if you can drink ram piss, you can drink fucking anything. And then there's a scene of them chasing down a damn goat. Now, they go out and they go to a party where they try different things. You know, different drinking games and stuff. And honestly, it's a really, really funny scene where just a bunch of people are just messing with these older guys. And there's a scene where they're playing I Never. I remember playing that game. Wow. I Never. There is like so many scenes in this thing that are so funny. And then they keep drinking, and all of a sudden, like, they're trying to explain the Das Boot to the team. But, there's a air bubble that comes, and when it pops, all the beer just flies through your face. Then, okay, they're just trying to... Landfill is just messing around with Frank. Frank knocks the puppet out of the thing, the head comes off, and they find the secret recipe of Germany's best tasting beer. And, they brew it, they taste it, it's really good. Then James and Tom realize that their great-grandma was a whore. Never thought I was going to have to say those words on this channel. Oh well, what's done is done. Okay. Then the German, they send it to, like, Germany, and they, they're trying it, and it's like the beer, They go to the States, and they pretty much say all this different stuff, trying to get the recipe back. Barry quits the team. Pretty much the team is disbanding after this point. Todd and Barry get into a fight because Barry hooked up with Todd's wife before they were married, and it was like a tag team type deal with a guy they called the Silo, and apparently he's got a Big Johnson or some bullshit. And Frank quits because somehow he makes a thing of monkey frogs or something. Landfill quits because of his wife saying she can't stand the secrets and the lies. Then Landfill pretty much drowns in beer. He somehow tries to save himself by drinking the beer, and he's just drowning. There's a funeral for Landfill, and then there's just a whole bunch of hilarity for the funeral, and then we meet Landfill's twin brother, Gil, but they like to call him they're going to call him Landfill in his honor. He ends up just different things. Well, they learn how to control the boot by drinking it and then tilting it just like boom. Okay, there's just really their great grandma tells them they cannot stop. I mean, they must go to Germany and take on the Germans because they are the true like owners or something of the von Wolfhausen legacy or some crap like that. Then you know they go to Germany and they're ready to do all this stuff. Trying to get to the thing, but you know they can't remember they were shit-faced. So the way how they remember it is getting shit-faced, and they go right to the spot. We see the weird people again. They knock on the door. Apparently they fuck up the password because I'm guessing it's a new year. There's a different password. So there's a scene that you did what the Romans did. Besides the Roman horse, they had a Roman keg. Excuse me. They get in, they break out of the thing, they're wearing American garb, and they're ready to just play some beer pong. I mean, not beer pong, just for BeerFest. They're ready to play games for BeerFest. And different, you know, they let them play, and all this other stuff. All these different shenanigans happen. Surprise, surprise, we're down to the Germans and the Americans. Germany almost wins just by a drop. So America leaves with the BeerFest trophy. And then we're just, you know, they're celebrating. And all of a sudden there's like a little clip at the end of the movie where it's before the credits. They're in Amsterdam. And they run into Willie Nelson. He says Cheech and Chong, his partners Cheech and Chong, can't make it because they were afraid to ride in his plane. He needs a group of people to be his weed smoking partners. And then a big cloud of smoke comes in and it spells out Pot Fest. That is BeerFest in a nutshell, guys. I'm Tank. This is beer. And this was BeerFest. I recommend BeerFest. It's a good comedy. It's got some stupid points in it. But what do you do? I'm Tank. This was Tank Talks Movies BeerFest edition. I'm signing out. Peace.